I-101. Welcome to study session 6. Skepticism and Knowledge. Introduction. In this study session, we will discuss skepticism and knowledge as philosophical problems. We will also attempt to answer the question of what it means to know anything and whether our knowledge can be doubted. Learning outcomes. When you have studied this session, you should be able to explain the problems of skepticism and knowledge. Problems of knowledge and skepticism. The problem of skepticism and knowledge arises from the attempt to answer one fundamental question. Do we have any knowledge in this world that is so certain that nobody can doubt it? I know you can readily think of so many things you can claim to know with assurance. You also have numerous beliefs which guard what you should do and what you ought not to do. Further, you believe that out of all these beliefs, you know how to separate between those beliefs which you consider to be true and those you consider to be false. The question, however, is, do we know with certainty that those beliefs we consider to be true or false are actually true or false? If we do know with certainty, how did we arrive at this certainty? A more fundamental question is, how do we even know that we know anything? What does it mean to know something? What is knowledge? Let us consider some statements about knowledge. 1. The government knows that politics sometimes hinders the common good. 2. I know how to use the laptop. 3. The barber claims to know the President of the United States. 4. He is knowledgeable in mathematics and statistics. 5. I know that God exists. 6. The man and the woman have known each other for the past 10 years. 7. Everybody knows that the capital of Nigeria is Abuja. 8. The DLC students know that they will pass their courses. 9. We all need to know what life is all about. 10. She claims to know Canada. There are several things that we can say about all these knowledge claims. Let us first eliminate those that are really not claims to knowledge. In example 8, know is interchanged with believe. So we cannot say it constitutes a real case of knowledge because they do not know yet whether they will pass their course. They are just exercising faith. In example 9, know is used for the need for understanding of the meaning of something. Example 2 and 4 refer to the skill that one possesses in being able to do something. Examples 3, 6, and 10 refer to the familiarity or experience of a place or people. Examples 1, 5, and 7 represent certain information about facts that we are aware of. All these examples help us to classify knowing into 3 fundamental categories. Knowledge by acquaintance, or knowledge of things, places, and persons. Knowledge of a skill or a special ability or the performance of a task, or knowledge of how. And the knowledge of certain facts, or knowledge that. We will not be bothered here about the relationship between these three types of knowledge. The important point to make is that out of the three categories of knowledge highlighted above, the most important for philosophers is knowledge that, or what can also be called propositional knowledge. The reason for this is simple. Take knowledge how, for example, it is possible for a person to possess the knowledge of how to cure diabetics using herbal means without being able to convey what he knows to anybody. Knowledge that, however, assumes the possession of specific information which people can convey to others to be judged true or false. For example, if I have lived with a friend for 5 months, can I assert that I know him? Yet, most of us uncritically assert, I know him very well. We even assert, I know Obasanjo without ever meeting with him. Propositional knowledge is interesting for the epistemologist because when we claim the knowledge of a fact or information, there is a prospect of a mistake in what we have claimed. There is a possibility that the evidence we propose to back up our claim may not be adequate or relevant to support the claim. Propositional knowledge implies the possession of a piece of information that is not open to falsehood. In other words, any claim to know that so and so must be certain, definite, and reliable, that it cannot be doubted. If I claim to know that 2 plus 2 equals 4, then it must not turn out that this is not so. But when we say we know that so and so, what is it that we know? There is a consensus in epistemology that knowledge derives from our beliefs. As human beings, we believe many things. We believe that the world will end one day. We believe that a man is stronger than a woman. We believe that most crimes are committed by men. We believe that there is God. We believe that the email is faster than the post mail. We believe that we shall die before our children. We believe that we live long to transcend our present condition. We believe that night follows day and day follows night, and so on. The problem, however, is not with what we believe. The philosophical problem is, which of my beliefs is to be counted as knowledge? In other words, which of my beliefs are true and which are false? Which of them can I depend on to live my life meaningfully? This question is fundamental because for something to count as knowledge, that thing must first be true. You cannot claim to know what is obviously false. For instance, you can say you have knowledge when you believe that the world is flat rather than spherical. If I believe that there are people living in the sun, and that belief is not true, then I can't claim any specific knowledge that there are people living in the sun. The second point about knowledge is that if we claim to know that something is so or not so, then we must believe what we claim to know. This point emphasizes the idea that belief is just an aspect of knowledge. It sounds awkward if you say, I know that Man U will defeat Arsenal by 3 goals, but I don't believe it. Lastly, for us to accept that you know so and so, then you must give us certain reasons why you believe so and so. Though knowledge is really an aspect of belief, it goes beyond belief in the sense that what counts as knowledge is belief plus evidence for what we are claiming. If this evidence is not there, or is not adequate, or does not support the claim, then we cannot say we have any knowledge. If I ask you why you know that Man U will defeat Arsenal, and you reply, I just know, then we cannot really say that you know that Man U will defeat Arsenal. Thus, to claim the knowledge that so and so is the case, what you claim to know must first be true. You must believe what you claim is so and you must have a reason or evidence for believing that so and so is the case. Skepticism. But is it possible to know something in such a way that the knowledge cannot be doubted? Is it possible to justify or give evidence for our beliefs in such a way that they will not be false? There are some that hold the claim that there is none of our beliefs that can be justified in such a way that they will not be false. These people are called the skeptics, and their positions is called skepticism. Skepticism is the position that we can never have enough certainty in our claim to knowledge. Skepticism comes in two forms: universal skepticism and limited skepticism. Universal skepticism is the claim that we can never know anything for certain. This skeptic argues that human beings cannot have any kind of knowledge of anything because none of our beliefs are ever justified. These beliefs are never justified because there would always be reasons to doubt the reasons we give in support of them. This position, however, is a very difficult one to hold because it already presupposes that there is at least one thing that we can know. In other words, if I claim that we can't know anything for certain, then I am also claiming that I know something for certain. What I know for certain is that we can never know anything for certain. Limited skepticism, on the other hand, escapes this self-defeating nature of universal skepticism in that it holds the position that some of our knowledge claims, especially in science, religion, and ethics, or about memory, perception, or the external world, are really not justified and hence cannot be held with certainty. This type of skepticism focuses our attention to specific issues and areas of human endeavors. For instance, the limited skeptic can query whether we can know for certain that the external world exists. Can you know for certain that the table in front of you or the book you're reading actually exists? Philosophical skepticism, in general, questions the reasons, evidence, and justification that we have for believing what we claim to believe. The fundamental challenge of the skeptic is not about the standards we employ to prove the truth of our claims. Rather, the challenge the skeptic poses is whether or not those standards are appropriate in supporting our claims. If I ask how you know that there is a table right in front of you, your answer is likely to be that you can see and feel the table. Your answer assumes that the senses are adequate to prove that we know something. But my next question would be, how do you know that your eyes are telling you the truth about what you are saying? If you agree that your eyes have deceived you once, how are you then sure that they are not presently deceiving you? Can you place your certainty in something that has deceived you many times in the past? All this may seem like a trivial, impracticable, and fruitless issue to you. How can I not know that I am holding a book in my hand right now? How can I not know that my TV is on if it is on? How can I not know that I am awake now and not dreaming? To even ask these questions only shows that you have not really come to terms with the fundamental nature of your own self as a human being. Skepticism comes from the Greek word skeptikos, meaning an inquirer, someone who is always searching for truth. Such an inquirer is someone who is not easily satisfied with claims that are not backed up with sufficient evidence. In this essence, we are all skeptics because we all also raise doubts about things that are perplexing to us and around us. We ask whether the federal government is sincere about giving Nigerians constant electricity. We ask whether we can adequately raise our children to be good citizens. We ask whether the rain will fall. We ask whether democracy can survive the corruption in Nigeria. We ask whether God exists and whether He notices our sufferings and agonies. We can ask whether we can pass our exams. We ask whether the world will end one day. We ask whether the sun will collide with the earth in orbit. We ask whether AIDS is real and deadly, and so on. We raise all manner of doubtful questions about things and assumptions that are not consistent with what we believe. According to Owolabi, skepticism is very significant in human life because skepticism as an idea connotes the critical spirit, the tendency of not being easily satisfied with simple or superficial evidence and striving to accept only incorrigible beliefs that are absolutely certain. Thus, skepticism is significant in two respects. A. It helps us not to accept claims and dogmatic statements that are not supported with evidence. And B. It also motivates us to reflect on our own claims so as to make only those claims that can support adequately with genuine evidence. Imagine getting an email saying that you have just won 3 million naira. The email further requires that you deposit 50,000 naira in a certain account in order to claim your winnings. What would be your immediate response? I suspect that the response would be an immediate doubt. How did I come to win an amount I did not play for? Then, you want to explore your curiosity the more. You may want to play along with the scam message to see how it will turn out. Once you refuse to take the email or any other thing for that matter on face value alone, we can say you are skeptic. The whole essence of skepticism is just that, to help us in scrutinizing our claims and the claims of others before we decide to take any action on them. Study session summary. In this study session, we discussed what knowledge is all about, what it means to know something, how we can differentiate between what counts as beliefs and what counts as knowledge. We learned that though knowledge is an aspect of belief, it goes beyond belief in the sense that to have knowledge about anything, it must be made up of our belief and the evidence we have to support that belief. We also saw the skeptical challenge to those things we claim to know for certain. In conclusion, we saw that skepticism is essential for us in two relevant senses. 1. It gives us the critical spirit to scrutinize the claims that others make for their beliefs. And 2. It also motivates us to scrutinize our own claims before we go on to act on them. Welcome to the end of study session 6. Thanks for listening.